to Oyster Water Study Guides with me, Donovan Mulberry. I'm an educational legend who's here to try and help you improve your grades. These study guides might even help you get your hands on one of those wonderful sounding A-star grades. Or as they're now known, 9. So let's get started. Honestly, 9. Whoever came up with that's a right idiot. Today we're going to be looking at a poem called Ozymandias. And Ozymandias was written by a bloke called Percy Bysshe What's with stupid names? I'm sick of them already. I'm just going to call him Shelley, which is a girl's name. And as you can see, he's also got a girl's face. But he was a bloke, and he proved it by marrying a woman called Mary. Mary Shelley. She ended up writing Frankenstein. So both he and his wife proper loved writing. Interesting. Now you see, the poem Ozymandias, that's how I'm going to pronounce it and I don't even care, is actually all about a statue that crumbles away over hundreds and hundreds of years. Now even though this statue's seen better days, it's still there in some way, shape or form. So maybe Shelley is actually saying that long after men die and cities crumble away to naught, we can still live on through our art. Just like how Percy and his wife Mary could live on through their writing. That's something that might be worth mentioning when you're talking about the poem's context. It does proper look like a girl, doesn't it? But I better be careful what I say, because I don't want him to kick my head in. You see, back in the day, Shelley was considered to be something of a rebel. And in 1811, he actually got kicked out of Oxford University for being proper mental. I wonder what he did. Let's ask him. Percy Bysshe Shelley, can you tell us what you did to get kicked out of Oxford Uni?
I had some writing published in a leaflet that promoted atheism.
Is that it?
Supporting atheism was a real bad thing back in the 1800s, I'll have you know.
Pathetic. But this rebellious side might actually be useful when exploring the poem's context as well, because some people said that Ozymandias was Shelley's way of showing his rebellious side through his writing, by saying that no matter how big or powerful something is, like Oxford University, eventually it'll crumble away to dust and naught.
Take that, you pompous establishments!
Oh, calm down, you daredevil! Anyway, let's take a look at the poem's meaning. This is Ramses II, a great and powerful ruler of ancient Egypt. And look, I've built my own mini ancient Egypt here by using loads of bits and bobs I've found in me bedsy. Anyway, Ramses II built loads of cool stuff in ancient Egypt and generally thought that he was a proper mint legend.
I've built a sphinx. I'm a proper mint legend.
And to really show everyone how mint he was, he built a great big chuff-off statue of himself, which I've recreated here using a £1 pack of modelling clay from The Works. Thanks, The Works. This statue was supposed to stand and look out over ancient Egypt forever, and forever tell everyone that
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair.
But as the years turned into centuries, ancient Egypt crumbled away, and the statue of Ramses II broke apart until eventually all that was left was a stupid, daft-looking pair of legs and a big chunk of his face half stunk in sand. Get down, Ramses II, you loser!
How dare you!
The disintegrating of the statue is actually a metaphor for the fading away of great civilizations and their whackpot leaders.
Who are you calling whackpot? I am Ozymandias, King
Yeah, King of Kings, mighty and despair, we've heard it all before, Ramses. What kind of name is Ramses anyway? So, in a nutshell, all things great and small will eventually decay away into naught and be completely forgotten. So don't waste your time making great big statues of yourself. Okay, let's get into nitty-gritty of this poem. Now it starts off with narrator telling us that he met a traveller from Antique Land. Where is Antique Land? Is it in Hawaii? Oh no, Antique Land's in Australia, isn't it? Or is it in Doncaster? Well, I want to know because I've got no idea where Antique Land actually is. It's just proper vague, as if this massive empire has just been forgotten with time. Oh, that's it, yeah, I forgot, yeah. Everything is forgotten. People, sculptures, lands. All forgotten, hence Antique Land. Now, the way that the narration jumps around is actually also tied into this idea of things being forgotten. We start off with narrator, but he only says about 7 words before we forget him and focus on the story of this random traveller. And he tells us a little bit before we forget him and focus on what the sculpture is actually telling us in words on inscription. So as the poem goes on, these individual people are forgotten. Their voices are forgotten, much like every chuffing other thing in this poem. All forgotten. Despite Ozymandias being long dead, some of the parts and features of the sculpture have survived the test of time, so far at least. You can look at the chunks of sculpture and still see some of his facial expressions. Why don't you have a look in the poem and see if you can find what those expressions are? So Ozymandias' face didn't seem very friendly at all. Perhaps this was Shelley's way of saying that a lot of powerful leaders are horrible, mean bum faces. But don't you write bum faces in your exam. That won't go down too well. Choose something more appropriate, like anus faces. Lines 6 and 7 actually teach us something about the sculptor as well. We learned that he well those passions red, which means that he did a really good job at capturing exactly what Ramses II looked like. We also learned that he stamped them features onto the stone, which meant that he was really talented with his carvings. Wrinkled lip, frown, sneer of cold command. That is money. Honestly, do you know what I don't get? Why didn't he ask the sculptor to give him a chiselled jawline and beautiful eyes like what I've got? I'll have you know that I am perfectly formed, thank you very much. Anyway, talking about being perfectly formed, this poem is actually a Petrarchan sonnet. So the poem is kinda in two parts. You've got the first 8 lines, or the octave, which introduces this random travelling dude and a battered old statue in desert. Big deal. But then on line 9, we get the turn, or the volta, if you want to pretend that you're Italian. Now, after this turn or volta, we get the last 6 lines, or the sestet. Now, in a Petrarchan sonnet, these last 6 lines, or sestet, go into more detail or explain further about what the first 8 lines were banging on about. In this poem, the last 6 lines goes into more detail about the inscription on the statue itself. Basically, Ozymandias' statue tells ye mighty, which means rich people who think they're proper good, to look on his works and despair. This means that Ozymandias wanted all the wealthy folk to look at his statue and go, that's a mint statue, this guy can really build some statues. But then they got to turn around and look at his works, all the rest of ancient Egypt, and go, look at all them amazing buildings and other sculptures and works of art. And when they've seen that, they'd have a big despair, which means a massive freak out, because then they know that compared to Ozymandias, they are rubbish, because Ozymandias is numero uno at buildings and statues and empires and stuff. But now, unfortunately, there's no surrounding this statue apart from dust and desert. There are no works to look upon anymore. So what Shelley's done with the last 6 lines of this Petrarchan sonnet is really hammer home the message that no matter how big someone thinks they are, no matter how big statue they can build of themselves, no matter how great their empire is, everything will eventually crumble to naught like Weetabix under a car. So we know why people might have despaired back then when they saw this statue, but now, with no empire of epic proportions in sight and naught but desert for miles around, why would anyone despair if they saw the statue today? Let's ask a crusty old rich dude why he might despair at seeing Ozymandias' battered old statue. Over to you, crusty old rich dude.
Well, Ozymandias was incredibly powerful and very wealthy, like, say, Victoria Beckham or Roman Abramovich. You see, us crusty old rich dudes love being incredibly wealthy and very, very powerful because it makes us believe that we will always be remembered. We will always be influential. However, when we see that all that is left of Ozymandias' once mighty empire is this rotten and decayed old relic, surrounded by naught but a desert, for as far as the eye can see, then it reminds us that nothing lasts forever, not even for the mega powerful and rich. Even I, Lord Crustius Dudius III, will one day be little more than dust in the wind. And it makes me want to cry, or as Shelley put it, despair!
Thank you very much, crusty old rich dude. So eventually time and nature will eat away at whatever us silly little humans try to accomplish. This gives the poem a really depressing and quite a sombre tone. Means that maybe in 1,000 years' time all that's going to be left is dirt and sand and blackberry bushes and nettles and a chuffing ain't nettles. Even our greatest works of art will have crumbled away into chunks of dirt. It makes the reader feel insignificant. So thanks a lot for that, Percy Bysshe Shelley.
You're welcome.
Bum face. Anus face. Okay, now it's time to consider rhythm and rhyme. Now, Ozymandias is written in what's called iambic pentameter, but that's just the right Pacific kind of rhythm. All you need to worry about is the fact that in this poem, Shelley really shakes up the rhythm, so it's hard for the iambic pentameter to work properly. You could say that the rhythm's a bit knackered, but why? And also, the rhyme scheme's a bit all over the place as well. Lines 1 and 3 are alright, land and sand. And also, lines 11 to 14 are pretty sound. Despair, decay, bear, away. Sounds alright, yeah? Well, no, because all other lines only half rhyme or don't even rhyme at all. So what the monkey's nipple was Shelley with his girl's face playing at? To summarise, sometimes the rhyme scheme seems solid and other times it don't. And the rhythm seems to be written in iambic pentameter, but other times it just don't work. So can you suggest why Shelley might have done this? I'll give you a clue. It's not 'cause he's proper plop at poems. So you've been having a chat about rhythm and rhyme. Why don't you try this on for size? Perhaps the rhyme scheme and the rhythm may seem solid and clear at the start, but actually on closer inspection it's breaking and falling apart, much like the statue itself, which over time has crumbled and fallen away as well. Boom, how do you like them apples? A star for me. You what? Oh yeah. 9. I've got 9. 9. Anyway, other things that you might want to take into consideration include the relevance of the title. Now that is easy. Ozymandias, just one word, and that one word is his name. It again suggesting that he was really self-important and arrogant. Maybe Shelley was suggesting that's not a very good trait to have, and it's also ironic because by end is naught but a heap of disintegrating nothing.
I am everything!
Shut it, Sandy Knickers.
I'm sorry. Don't forget comparisons.
Oh aye, yeah, comparisons. Yes, thank you Ramsey second Ozymandias. You'll need to have a think about which other poems from the cluster you might want to compare Ozymandias to. So why don't you have a chin wag about that now, while I give myself a nostril massage. Nostril massage. Now, I'm sure that you've thought about some good connections between this poem and the others in the cluster, but have you thought about any of these? In Ozymandias, nature is powerful because it destroys everything over time. Nature is powerful in Storm on the Island because it's kicking people's heads in using storms. Honestly, nature just don't know when to pack it in. So nature seems really powerful in Ozymandias, in Storm on the Island. It's also powerful in the Prelude because nature makes a little boy right scared of an hill. An hill who gets scared of an hill. Don't, this big hill. I'm scared of that hill. Oh, don't, I'm scared of pot plants. Pathetic. Another connection for you to think about is power, which links Ozymandias to My Last Duchess. See, Ozymandias was obsessed with having power over mighty empires and buildings and statues and works and mighty and large-zaddy-dee-da. Whereas in My Last Duchess, that guy is equally obsessed with power, but he wants absolute power over his poor wife. What about how fragile human life is? An idea explored in Ozymandias, when someone so massive and mighty and powerful crumbles away to naught. And also explored in Tissue, where human life is so fragile it's like a piece of toilet paper or tissue paper. Fragile. There are loads of other connections as well, so do try to track them down. And in the meantime, all that's left for me to say is, if you still think that you don't know a note, pay attention to these top 3 quotes. That's it. You'll be you, and I'll be Donovan Mulberry.